So there I was, scrolling through our family iPad looking for my daughter's school art project photos. Then I accidentally discovered something. My husband had been spending 18 months doing considerably more than family bonding with his brother's wife. Welcome to my Thursday. I'm Emily Carter, 36, Senior Human Resources Manager at a Fortune 500 company, which means I'm professionally trained to spot red flags, investigate misconduct, and document everything. Ironic, considering I'd spent 12 years missing the biggest red flag in my own living room. We live in Charlotte's South Park neighborhood. You know, where everyone drives a luxury SUV, everyone belongs to at least 2 country clubs, people maintain the perfect family image like it's an Olympic sport. Ryan and I had the whole package. The $650,000 colonial with the professionally landscaped yard, 2 beautiful kids, Olivia's 9, Ethan's 6, matching golden retrievers, enough family dinners to film a cooking show. I handled the human resources for a massive corporation, while he worked as regional sales director for a tech firm. He traveled constantly, but was always home for Sunday dinner with his brother's family. His brother Jake and sister-in-law Vanessa lived 15 minutes away. We did everything together: holidays, birthdays, random Tuesday barbecues. Vanessa was my person, or so I thought. She knew my coffee order, my favorite wine, my deepest insecurities about being a working mom. We texted daily. We had weekly yoga sessions. She was the first person I called when life got messy. Turns out she was also the person making my life messy. The audacity was breathtaking. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up to that Thursday morning. November 16th, if you want specifics. Some dates burn into your brain like a brand. I wasn't even looking for anything. Olivia had this art project due Friday. She'd taken photos on the family iPad we kept in the living room. Simple enough, right? Except when I opened the Photos app, iCloud decided to be helpful. It synced Ryan's messages from his iPhone. There, between Olivia's crayon masterpieces and Ethan's Lego creations, was a text thread. A text thread that made my blood run cold. Missing you already. Last night was incredible. Can't wait until Jake's out of town next week. Sent at 11:47 at night. From Vanessa. I stood there in our kitchen, still holding my coffee from Starbucks. Pike Place with oat milk, $5.45 that suddenly felt like a complete waste of money. I was trying to make my brain catch up with my eyes. Funny thing about shock, your brain does this weird thing where it processes everything in hyper detail while simultaneously going, nope, not happening. I scrolled up, and up, and up. 18 months. 18 months of messages, ranging from explicit to heartbreaking to absolutely rage-inducing. Hotel reservations at the Ritz-Carlton using our joint credit card. Weekend work trips that lined up perfectly with Jake's business travel. Intimate details about our marriage that I'd shared with Vanessa in confidence, used against me in their private conversations. Em's working late again. She doesn't even notice when I'm gone. That one stung. Because he was right. I hadn't noticed. I'd been so busy being the perfect human resources executive, perfect mom, perfect hostess for his family dinners. I'd completely missed my perfect husband sleeping with my perfect sister-in-law. But here's where it gets fun, because I'm not just any human resources manager. I'm the senior human resources manager who handles compliance investigations. I've interviewed hundreds of employees about misconduct. I know how to gather evidence, build a case, present it with devastating clarity. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't immediately call Ryan or confront Vanessa. I took screenshots, methodically. Every single message, every hotel receipt, every incriminating photo. And then I started digging deeper. See, when you work in human resources, you learn something. People always leave digital breadcrumbs. Always. Ryan thought he was being clever by using cash for some purchases, but he forgot about our joint checking accounts' automatic transfers to savings. I pulled up our bank statements on my laptop. Yes, I kept meticulous financial records because I'm that person. I started highlighting irregularities. $286 at Fleming Steakhouse on a Tuesday night. He'd told me he was working late. Interesting. $847 at Nordstrom on June 3rd. I never received any gifts that month. $15,247.82 transferred from our joint savings to an account I didn't recognize. The memo line said, medical expenses. I pulled up our health insurance portal. No major medical claims. Nothing that would require $15,000. I'm a naturally curious person. Comes with the human resources territory. So I did what any rational woman would do at 10 in the morning on a Thursday. I became a detective. A very methodical, spreadsheet-loving detective. I created a folder on my laptop titled Olivia Art Project, because if Ryan happened to see it, he'd never look inside. Then I started organizing everything chronologically. Messages, receipts, bank transfers, credit card statements, color-coded by category, red for explicit messages, orange for financial transactions, yellow for timeline discrepancies. The pattern was devastatingly clear. Every time Jake traveled for work, Ryan would suddenly have evening meetings or weekend conferences. The Ritz-Carlton charges always corresponded with Jake's business trips to Atlanta. The Victoria's Secret purchases happened right before their date nights. $347 on June 12th, another $289 on August 4th. I spent 6 hours that day building a case that would make my corporate attorneys weep with joy. By 4 in the afternoon, when I had to pick up the kids from school, I had 127 pages of documented evidence showing systematic betrayal, financial fraud, and 18 months of lies. But wait, it gets better. Because apparently regular betrayal wasn't enough for Ryan and Vanessa. They had to make it absolutely cinematic. That night, after putting the kids to bed, I went back through the messages more carefully and found this gem from 3 weeks earlier. Vanessa wrote, "I can't believe it. I'm pregnant." Ryan replied, "Are you sure?" Vanessa said, "Positive test this morning. I'm freaking out. What do we do?" Ryan asked, "When was your last time with Jake?" Vanessa answered, 2 months ago. We barely, you know how it's been. Ryan, this is your baby." I sat there, staring at my laptop screen, feeling something between hysterical laughter and cold fury. My sister-in-law was pregnant with my husband's baby, the woman who'd held my hand through my own pregnancy with Ethan, the woman who'd organized my baby shower, who told me I was glowing and would be an amazing mother again. She was carrying my husband's child. The next message thread was even better. Ryan wrote, "We need money for the pregnancy, appointments, tests, everything." Vanessa replied, "Jake monitors our accounts too closely. He'll notice." Ryan said, "I'll handle it. Em never checks our savings." And there it was, The $15,247.82 in medical expenses. Not for me, not for our family, for his pregnant mistress, who happened to be his brother's wife. The sheer audacity was almost impressive. Almost. I called my best friend Maya at 11 at night. Maya's a family law attorney. We met in college. She's the kind of friend who shows up with wine and spreadsheets when your life implodes. Maya, I need legal advice. Like right now. What's wrong? Ryan's been sleeping with Vanessa for 18 months. She's pregnant with his baby. He stole $15,000 from our savings, and I have documentation of everything. Silence. Then she said, I'm coming over. Don't do anything yet. Maya arrived 20 minutes later with a bottle of Camus Cabernet and her laptop. We sat at my kitchen table, the same table where we'd hosted countless family dinners with Ryan, Jake, and Vanessa, all pretending we were one big happy family. We started building my strategy. First question, Maya said, pouring us both generous glasses of wine. What do you want? Quick settlement, or do you want blood? I didn't even hesitate. I want justice. Documented, legally binding, financially devastating justice. Maya grinned. Good, because North Carolina is one of the few states left where adultery actually matters in divorce proceedings. We can use this. And, even better, North Carolina allows alienation of affection lawsuits. Which means you can sue Vanessa for destroying your marriage, separately from the divorce. It's rare, but it's powerful. I felt something shift in my chest. Not quite hope, but close. Keep talking. You work in human resources. You understand evidence chains, documentation, witness statements. We're going to use that. Every message, every receipt, every bank transfer. And we're going to present it in a way that leaves zero room for negotiation. Over the next 3 hours, Maya walked me through North Carolina divorce law. Fault-based divorce meant adultery would impact alimony significantly. Joint property would be divided, but the court would consider financial misconduct, like stealing marital funds for your mistress's pregnancy. Primary custody would likely go to the non-cheating parent, especially when I could prove Ryan prioritized his affair over his children's well-being. Here's what we do, Maya said, pulling up a calendar. Your brother-in-law, Jake's birthday is in 3 weeks. Big party, right? Yeah, 40th birthday dinner at Fleming Steakhouse. Why? Because that's where we detonate this bomb. Public, family setting, no escape route. Maximum impact. I stared at her. You want me to expose them at Jake's birthday dinner? I want you to expose them at Jake's birthday dinner. Think about it. Jake deserves to know. Your kids deserve to not grow up thinking this behavior is normal. And Ryan and Vanessa deserve to face the consequences of their choices in front of everyone they've been lying to. Won't that be cruel to Jake? Jake's gonna find out eventually. At least this way he finds out with family support around him. And he's gonna want answers. Better he gets them from you with evidence than Ryan spinning some victim story. She was right. God help me, she was right. What about the pregnancy? Vanessa's going to show eventually. Maya pulled out her phone and started texting. I have a contact, private investigator, specializes in family cases. If we can get DNA evidence, even just for our records, it strengthens everything. DNA? How? Paternity test. Vanessa's what? Maybe 3 months along based on those messages? We can request a prenatal paternity test through the court during divorce proceedings. If Ryan is the father, which those messages pretty clearly indicate, it's additional proof of the affair's duration and seriousness. I thought about Olivia and Ethan, asleep upstairs, about the life I'd built, brick by careful brick, About 12 years of marriage dissolving into spreadsheets and legal strategies. "Let's do it," I said. "All of it. But I want to be smart about this. No tipping our hand early." Maya raised her glass of wine. "To justice, and to being the most prepared plaintiff in North Carolina divorce history." We clinked glasses. Welcome to my new reality. The next 3 weeks were surreal. I went to work every day, managed my team, conducted interviews, reviewed policies, came home, made dinner, helped with homework, read bedtime stories, attended Olivia's soccer games and Ethan's parent-teacher conference, had family dinners with Ryan, Jake, and Vanessa, smiling while Vanessa talked about her stomach bug, while Ryan touched my shoulder like a devoted husband. I was living in a performance piece, except I was the only one who knew it.
At night, after everyone was asleep, I worked with Maya and her investigator contact, a woman named Rachel who'd seen everything and judged nothing. Rachel pulled cell tower records showing Ryan's phone near Vanessa's house on dates he told me he was working late. Found ATM withdrawals near the Ritz-Carlton matching hotel stay dates. Even tracked down a hotel employee who remembered seeing them together. "Your husband's an idiot," Rachel told me matter-of-factly during one of our late-night phone calls. "Smart cheaters use cash and burner phones. He used your joint credit card and kept messages on his iCloud. He wanted to get caught, or he's just stupid." "Both, probably," I said. We filed the divorce papers, but didn't serve them yet. Maya wanted everything perfect, the evidence organized, the custody arrangement drafted, the property division calculated down to the last dollar. She requested the prenatal paternity test through the court. It would be automatically included in the divorce filing. Ryan had no idea. Neither did Vanessa. They were still having their affair, still using my money, still showing up to family dinners with practiced smiles. Jake's birthday party was scheduled for Saturday, December 9th at Fleming's Steakhouse because apparently Ryan liked taking his mistress to the same restaurant he'd been using for his affair. The irony wasn't lost on me. Private dining room, 20 guests, full Southern spread planned. I bought a new dress for the occasion. Black Theory sheath, $495 at Nordstrom. Classic, professional, powerful. Armor for battle. 3 days before the party, Maya called with an update. "Process server is ready. We can serve him at the party or wait until after. Your call." After, I decided. Let Jake have his moment of discovery first. Ryan can have his moment of legal panic after dessert. You're diabolical. I love it. The morning of the party, I woke up calm. Eerily calm. 12 years of marriage ending, 2 kids who would have their world rocked, a family about to implode, and I felt nothing but cold, clear determination. Ryan was already up, making coffee. "Big night tonight," he said, kissing my cheek. "Jake's gonna love the Rolex we got him." We. As if he'd contributed anything beyond his affair with Jake's wife. "Can't wait," I said, smiling, and I meant it. The private dining room at Fleming's Steakhouse was everything Jake would have wanted. Warm lighting, elegant table settings, family photos displayed on a side table. Ryan's mother Linda had organized everything, complete with a slideshow of Jake's childhood photos playing on a screen in the corner. Everyone was there. Jake and Vanessa looking like the perfect couple. Ryan's parents, his aunt and uncle, my parents who'd flown in from Virginia, close family friends. 20 people who'd known Ryan and me as the solid couple, the family foundation. I sat between my parents watching Ryan work the room. He was good at this. The charismatic brother, devoted husband, doting uncle to Jake and Vanessa's kids. He clinked glasses with Jake, laughed at family stories, played the role perfectly. Vanessa wore a flowing dress that concealed her pregnancy, 3.5 months along now, based on my calculations. She caught my eye and smiled. That same warm smile she'd given me 1,000 times. My best friend, my sister-in-law, my husband's pregnant mistress. I smiled back. Dinner was excellent. Filet mignon, lobster mac and cheese, roasted Brussels sprouts. I barely tasted any of it. Maya had texted me earlier. Evidence folder is on your phone. Photos app, album titled Jake BD. Ready when you are. Dessert arrived. A massive chocolate cake with Happy 40th Jake written in gold frosting. Everyone sang, Jake blew out candles, made a wish that was absolutely not going to come true. Then Ryan stood up, glass raised. I want to make a toast to my brother. Jake, you've been my rock, my best friend, my partner in crime since we were kids. I couldn't ask for a better brother or a better family. The irony was physically painful. That's when I stood up. Actually, I said, voice steady and clear, before we continue celebrating, there's something everyone needs to know. Ryan's ace went pale. What? Sit down, Ryan. I pulled out my phone, opened the evidence album. Jake, I'm sorry to do this at your birthday dinner, but you deserve to know the truth, and you deserve to hear it from me. Jake looked confused. What? I turned to face Ryan and Vanessa directly. Ryan and Vanessa have been having an affair for 18 months. Vanessa is currently pregnant with Ryan's baby, and Ryan has stolen $15,247.82 from our joint savings account to pay for her pregnancy expenses.
The room went silent. Absolutely, devastatingly silent. That's, Ryan started. Not finished. I held up my phone, started scrolling through screenshots. Here are text messages between them, explicitly detailing their affair. Here's the Tiffany receipt for $2,847.82 on October 28th, for a bracelet Vanessa is wearing right now. Here's the bank transfer Ryan made on September 14th with medical expenses in the memo line. Here's the Ritz-Carlton charge from November 3rd, the weekend Ryan told me he was at a sales conference in Atlanta. I looked at Jake, whose face had gone from confusion to devastation. Jake, your wife has been sleeping with your brother since June of last year. Every business trip you took, they were together. The Ritz-Carlton, the Ballantine Hotel, even your own house when you were in Chicago last month. Vanessa stood up, tears streaming. Emily, I can explain. No. My voice was ice. You don't get to explain. You don't get to make this about your feelings or your reasons or whatever justification you've been telling yourself. You had 18 months to explain. You had 18 months to be honest. I turned to Ryan. And you? You stood in front of our family and friends 12 years ago. You promised to love, honor, and cherish me. You made those same promises to our children when they were born. And you broke every single one while using my money to finance your affair. Ryan's mother, Linda, stood up. Emily, surely there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding, Linda. Would you like to see the messages where Ryan told Vanessa he'd finally followed his heart? Or the ones where he discussed leaving me once the timing was right? Or maybe the ones where Vanessa confirmed the baby is his because she and Jake haven't been intimate in months? Jake made a sound like a wounded animal. He turned to Vanessa, who was sobbing now. Is it true? She couldn't meet her eyes. Is it true? His voice cracked. Jake, Vanessa's voice was barely a whisper. Answer me, Vanessa! Is my brother's baby inside you right now? She nodded, still crying. What happened next was both terrible and satisfying. Jake, calm, steady Jake who'd never raised his voice in his life, turned to Ryan. He punched him square in the jaw. knocked over his chair, spluttered on the floor. 18 months? Jake's voice was quiet, dangerous. While I was working to support our family, while Emily was raising your children, you were screwing my wife and getting her pregnant. Ryan touched his jaw, blood on his lip. Jake, brother, listen. Don't call me brother. You don't get to call me brother anymore. My father stood up, put a hand on Jake's shoulder. Jake, let's step outside. They left together, Jake looking absolutely shattered. My mother moved to my side, wrapped an arm around my waist. Vanessa was still crying, making small gasping sounds. Several family members had started talking at once. Ryan's aunt was demanding answers. Linda was trying to defend Ryan, saying something about mistakes and working through it. I cut through the noise. There's one more thing. Ryan, you're being served with divorce papers tomorrow morning. The filing includes adultery grounds, which will affect alimony since we're in North Carolina. It also includes a motion for full custody of Olympia and Ethan, considering you prioritized your affair over their well-being for 18 months. Please. I'm filing a civil suit against Vanessa for alienation of affection. That's a real thing in North Carolina, by the way. You can sue someone for destroying your marriage. The documented evidence of your affair, combined with the pregnancy, makes it a fairly strong case. Vanessa looked up, mascara running down her face. You can't! Emily, please, I'm pregnant! You should have thought about that before sleeping with my husband. The prenatal paternity test has already been ordered by the court. Once it confirms Ryan's the father, he'll be responsible for child support, on top of our children's support. Ryan struggled to his feet. You can't take my kids! Watch me. I met his eyes, saw the panic there. You spent 18 months lying to them. 18 months missing soccer games and piano recitals because you were with her. You used money meant for their education to finance your affair. A judge is going to love hearing about that. Emily. Ryan's voice cracked. Please, can we talk about this privately?
No. You had 18 months to talk to me privately. 18 months to be honest. You chose this. You chose her. Now you get to live with the consequences. I turned to address the whole room. I'm sorry Jake's birthday ended this way, but everyone here deserved to know the truth about the people they've been defending, supporting, and celebrating. Ryan and Vanessa made their choices. Now they get to face them. I picked up my purse, nodded to my parents. Mom, Dad, let's go check on Jake. We left. Behind us, I could hear Ryan trying to explain, Vanessa still crying, Linda defending her son, the sounds of a family imploding. It was the best $495 I'd ever spent on a dress. The next morning, Sunday, the process server delivered the divorce papers to Ryan at 8 in the morning. He'd spent the night at a hotel. I'd changed the locks immediately after getting home from dinner. Professional locksmith, $480, worth every penny. I'd already sent copies of everything to my attorney, Jake's attorney, and kept backups in 3 different locations. When you work in human resources, you learn that documentation is everything. Ryan called 17 times that morning. I didn't answer. He showed up at the house at noon. Found he couldn't get in. Emily, open the door. We need to talk. I opened the window on the 2nd floor. Talk to my lawyer. Her contact information is on page 3 of the divorce filing. This is insane. You can't just kick me out of my own house. Actually, I can. The house is in both our names, but North Carolina law allows me to exclude you based on your adultery. Check with your lawyer if you don't believe me. What about the kids? I want to see my kids. They're at my parents' house. You'll see them according to whatever custody arrangement the court establishes. Until then, all communication goes through attorneys. I closed the window. He stood there for another 10 minutes yelling before finally leaving. My phone was blowing up. Ryan's mother called 6 times, his aunt, several family friends. I blocked most of them. The few I answered got the same response. I have nothing to add beyond what I said last night.
Everything is documented. This is now a legal matter. Jake called that evening. Emily, it's Jake. Hey, how are you holding up? I've filed for divorce. Talked to an attorney this morning. Thank you for telling me. I know that couldn't have been easy. You deserved to know. I'm sorry it happened at your birthday. He laughed, but it sounded broken. Honestly, I'm glad it happened in front of everyone. No way for them to spin it later. Everyone saw, everyone knows. That was the idea. I'm requesting a paternity test too, for my own records, and am filing for full custody. Vanessa's... I can't even look at her right now. I get it. She's been calling, crying, saying it was a mistake. She never meant to hurt anyone. 18 months of mistakes? Impressive consistency. He laughed again, more genuine this time. Thanks for that. I needed it. Listen, do you need anything? Money, support? Someone to punch Ryan again? I'm good. But keep me posted on your case. We might be able to coordinate on some things. Will do. And Emily, you're one hell of a woman. Ryan is an idiot. I know. The legal process was exactly as messy as Maya had predicted. Ryan hired an attorney who tried to paint me as vindictive and unreasonable. They argued I'd entrapped him by gathering evidence without his knowledge. Judge Martinez, a woman in her early 60s with zero patience for nonsense, shut that down immediately. Counsel, your client conducted an affair for 18 months, used marital funds to support his pregnant mistress, and maintained this deception while living with his wife and children. Mrs. Carter had every right to gather evidence of his behavior. Ryan's attorney tried another approach. Your Honor, my client is willing to agree to reasonable support and custody arrangements, but Mrs. Carter is requesting amounts that would be financially devastating. Maya stood up. Your Honor, Mrs. Carter is requesting exactly what North Carolina law entitles her to in a fault-based divorce, involving adultery and financial misconduct. We've documented that Mr. Carter stole $15,247.82 from their joint savings account for his affair partner's pregnancy expenses. We've documented 18 months of hotel charges, restaurant bills, and gift purchases on their joint credit card, totaling an additional $47,389.12. And we've documented that he missed numerous important family events, children's birthdays, school performances, medical appointments to conduct this affair. Judge Martinez reviewed the evidence. 20 minutes of silence. Just her reading through screenshots, bank statements, credit card records. When she looked up, her expression was ice. Mr. Carter, I've reviewed the evidence submitted by Mrs. Carter's counsel. The documentation is thorough, specific, and damning. I'm awarding Mrs. Carter primary physical custody of both minor children. You'll have supervised visitation every other weekend until you complete parenting classes and demonstrate stable housing and employment. Ryan's face went white. Furthermore, I'm awarding Mrs. Carter $3,500 per month in alimony for 5 years, plus $2,200 per month in child support. The marital home will be awarded to Mrs. Carter. Mr. Carter's retirement accounts will be divided 60-40 in Mrs. Carter's favor due to financial misconduct, and Mr. Carter will be responsible for reimbursing the $15,247.82 he stole from their joint savings within 90 days. Your Honor, Ryan's attorney started. I'm not finished. The prenatal paternity test results show that Mr. Carter is the biological father of Mrs. Carter's unborn child. That child support will be addressed in Mr. Carter's separate case with Mrs. Carter. But let me be clear. Mr. Carter will be responsible for supporting 3 children, 2 of whom he chose to neglect while conducting his affair. The gavel came down. Divorce granted. Everything Maya and I had fought for, secured in one hearing. Ryan tried to approach me afterward in the courthouse hallway. "Em, please, this is going to destroy me financially. You should have thought about that before sleeping with your brother's wife for 18 months. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. People make mistakes. You made 18 months of choices. There's a difference. What about the kids? They need their father. They have their father. Every other weekend, with supervision. Maybe use that time to actually be present for them, instead of planning your next affair." I walked away, Maya beside me. Behind us, I heard Ryan's attorney talking about appeals, modifications, second chances. "Think you'll try to fight it?" Maya asked once we were outside. "He can try, but he doesn't have money for a prolonged battle, and every appeal just means more legal fees he can't afford." Spoken like a true strategist. Spoken like someone who works in human resources. I've seen enough workplace misconduct cases to know how this ends. The person who documents everything wins, every time. The fallout was spectacular and satisfying. Ryan lost his job 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized. Turns out, when you conduct an affair with your brother's wife and it becomes public knowledge in a close-knit business community, employers get nervous. Nervous about your judgment and decision-making. His sales numbers had also been declining for months, probably because he'd been too busy sleeping with Vanessa to focus on actual work. He moved into a small apartment in a less desirable part of Charlotte. 1 bedroom, basic furniture, nothing like the life we'd built together. His every other weekend visits with Olivia and Ethan were stilted and awkward. He tried to be fun dad, taking them to Chuck E. Cheese and buying them toys, but you could see them growing distant. Kids aren't stupid. They knew something had broken, even if we tried to shield them from the details. Vanessa's life imploded even harder. Jake won full custody of their 2 kids. The affair plus the pregnancy with another man's baby made that case straightforward. She had to sell their house to split assets, moved into a townhouse alone, 8 months pregnant with Ryan's baby. My alienation of affection suit against her settled out of court. She didn't have much money after the divorce anyway. I wasn't doing it for the money. I wanted the public record. I wanted every future employer, every future romantic partner, every person who Googled her name to see what she'd done. The settlement was $25,000, less than my attorney fees, but the judgment was public record. Forever. She gave birth in March to a baby boy. Ryan's name is on the birth certificate. He owes child support for 3 kids now on a reduced salary and mounting legal debt. I heard through the grapevine that Ryan's mother, Linda, stopped talking to him for 6 months. Too many people in her social circle knew what he'd done. Her weekly bridge club, her church group, her book circle. Everyone knew Linda's son had blown up his marriage by getting his sister-in-law pregnant. She couldn't show her face anywhere without facing questions or sympathetic looks. Ryan and Vanessa tried to make it work for about 8 months. Moved in together, played house with their baby. But an affair built on lies and destruction doesn't transform into a functional relationship just because you get what you wanted. They fought constantly, broke up every few weeks, got back together, broke up again. Last I heard, they'd split permanently. Vanessa moved back to her hometown in Tennessee with the baby. Ryan has visitation once a month, but he rarely shows up. Too expensive to travel, he claims. The child support keeps piling up. Meanwhile, Jake and I stayed friends. Not close friends, too much shared trauma for comfort, but allies. We coordinated custody schedules, compared notes on attorney strategies, sent each other dark humor memes about our exes. He started dating again after a year, met a wonderful woman named Rachel who worked as a pediatric nurse. They're engaged now. "You inspired me," he told me over coffee one afternoon. "Watching you handle everything with such clarity, you didn't fall apart. You didn't beg. You just took control. That's what I needed to see." "We both deserved better than what they gave us," I said. "Yeah, but now we're getting it." 1 year after that confrontation at Fleming's Steakhouse, I bought a new townhouse in Charlotte's Dilworth neighborhood. Modern, clean lines, nothing like the colonial I'd shared with Ryan. This place was mine. My name on the deed, my furniture, my style. I started my own human resources consulting firm, Carter Consulting, specializing in workplace investigations and compliance. Turns out, when you can document an 18-month affair with devastating precision, other companies want you conducting their internal investigations. Business was good, really good. I was making more money than I had at the Fortune 500, working my own hours, building something that was entirely mine. Olivia and Ethan adjusted better than I expected. Therapy helped, so did honesty. Age-appropriate honesty, but honesty. I told them their father had made choices that hurt our family, that divorce wasn't their fault, that they were loved unconditionally by everyone who mattered. Olivia, at 11 now, was startlingly perceptive. "Mom, did Dad cheat on you?" I'd frozen, unsure how to answer. "It's okay, I figured it out. That's why we don't see Aunt Vanessa anymore, right? And why Uncle Jake isn't at Thanksgiving?" "Sweetheart, I'm not stupid. I know what affair means. Maya uses that word when she thinks I'm not listening." I'd pulled her into a hug. Yes, Dad made some very poor choices that hurt a lot of people. But that's on him, not on you or Ethan. You're allowed to be angry, confused, hurt, whatever you feel. "I'm disappointed," she'd said, voice small. "I thought Dad was better than that." "Me too, sweetie. Me too." Ethan, at 8, was less aware of the details but picked up on the emotional temperature. He asked fewer questions, accepted simple answers. "Dad has his own apartment now, and we visit him sometimes. That's just how it is." Kids are resilient when you're honest and stable. I gave them both. I started dating again at the 1-year mark. Nothing serious, just testing the waters, coffee dates, dinner dates, realizing I'd forgotten how to talk to men who weren't my husband of 12 years. It was awkward and uncomfortable and oddly liberating. I met someone interesting, Mark, a landscape architect with zero tolerance for dishonesty. He knew my whole story. I'd laid it out on our 3rd date, because I'd learned that transparency beats pleasant fiction every time. "Your ex is an idiot," he'd said simply. "I know." His loss, my gain. We're taking things slow. He's met the kids twice, both times in casual group settings. No pressure, no rush. After 12 years of marriage built on lies, I'm learning to value honesty and patience. My financial situation improved dramatically. Between my consulting firm, the alimony, the child support, and the better division of assets, I was making nearly double what I had made married. Turns out, when you're not supporting a husband's secret second life, your money goes a lot farther. I took the kids to Disney World last summer. Olivia got her Elsa dress. Ethan met Spider-Man. We ate overpriced ice cream and rode every ride twice. Ryan had promised them Disney eventually for 5 years and never followed through. I made it happen in 6 months. Small victories, but they mattered. People ask me if I'm angry, if I'm bitter, if those 12 years feel wasted. I'm not angry anymore. Anger requires caring, and I used up my lifetime supply somewhere around the second Tiffany receipt. Ryan is just the guy I used to be married to, the father of my children, someone who pays child support twice a month and shows up irregularly to parenting events. Bitter? No, bitter would mean I wanted him back, wanted what we had. I don't. I look at his life now. Small apartment, mounting debt, strained relationship with his kids, revolving door of mediocre relationships, and I feel nothing. Not satisfaction, not schadenfreude, just nothing. As for those 12 years, they weren't wasted. I got Olivia and Ethan from those years. I got my career experience that I'm now using in my own business. I learned what red flags look like, what my non-negotiables are, what I will and won't tolerate. I learned I'm stronger than I thought, that I can face devastation and come out thriving, that spreadsheets and documentation will save your life when everything else falls apart. Some life lessons are gentle, some knock you flat and force you to rebuild from the ground up. Mine was the latter, but I'm grateful for it. The woman I am now, successful business owner, confident mother, strategic thinker, someone who doesn't settle for less than she deserves, she wouldn't exist without that Thursday morning discovery on the family iPad. Would I recommend this path? God, no. There are easier ways to grow. But if you find yourself in my position, if you discover betrayal and wonder if you're strong enough to handle it, let me tell you something. You are. Document everything. Get strategic legal help. Don't make emotional decisions. And remember that justice isn't always immediate, but it's usually inevitable. My favorite part of this whole story? Ryan's life fell apart exactly as much as he deserved. Not more, not less. Just exactly the right amount of consequences for his choices. Vanessa lost her marriage, her home, her social standing, and her best friend. She got the affair partner she'd been sneaking around with for 18 months and discovered he wasn't worth it after all. No sympathy for me there. And me? I got my kids, my career, my independence, and the satisfaction of knowing I handled the worst betrayal of my life with intelligence and dignity. I'm not hoping for Ryan's happiness or his misery. I'm just not thinking about him at all. That's freedom. Jake texted me last week, 2 years since that Fleming's dinner. How are you? Thriving, I replied. You? Same. Rachel and I are looking at houses. Weird how life works out. Not weird, just justice. To justice, he texted back with a champagne emoji. To justice, indeed. Some stories don't have tidy endings. This one does. The people who betrayed their families and stole from their spouses faced exactly the consequences they earned. The people who fought for truth and accountability built better lives. Welcome to my life 2 years later, successful, peaceful, and completely unburdened by the weight of a man who couldn't appreciate what he had until he destroyed it. Turns out, you don't need a partner to be powerful. You just need to remember you were strong all along. Find the receipts and let the lawyers do their job. Best $650,000 house and 18 months of documented betrayal I ever had. Worth every screenshot.